If you plan to add Northern Ireland to your itinerary, today's guest is going to give you a dozen reasons to make sure you spend plenty of time in Mid-Ulster. Today's podcast is brought to you by my book, Planning the Ireland Vacation of Your Dreams, a step-by-step guide to plan your own magical trip to Ireland. This book answers the questions: when is the best time to visit? How much money do I need for an Ireland vacation? What do I pack? Where do I stay? And what should I see? And plenty of other questions you haven't thought of. You can find Planning the Ireland Vacation of Your Dreams on Amazon, available in print and on Kindle.
Hi, everyone, and thanks so much for joining me here on the Traveling in Ireland podcast. Today, I am back with Jamesy McCloy. Now, Jamesy lives in Northern Ireland, and we're going to talk a little bit about his very special region of Ireland that a lot of tourists don't often detour through. So, Jamesy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Julie. It's great to be asked. Brilliant.
So, I have had the great pleasure of actually being in your area of Mid-Ulster, which is kind of the heart of Northern Ireland. We spent 2 weeks in that area just off of Lough Neagh last summer in June. And to be honest, it was an area that I didn't know a lot about, but it's so beautiful and so open, and it kind of has that bucolic country open feel to it. So can you tell us a little bit about where you're located and what you have to offer to visitors to Northern Ireland?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we are based in the middle of Ulster, mid-Ulster, and where I'm at, we're high up in the Spurn Mountains. So where we're situated, we're kind of looking out across Northern Ireland. We can see Lough Neagh, surrounding main mountains, Slemish, where St Patrick would have shepherded, Black Mountain in Belfast, the Mourne Mountains in County Down, and Slieve Gallion. So where we're at a really high point that we can see right across Northern Ireland, and it's beautiful.
It really is such a beautiful area, and it's a place because when people think of Northern Ireland, they think of Belfast and they think of that Causeway Coast. But they don't often drop south of that into the more rural areas. And there's a lot on offer in that spot. And you would maybe know that a little better than most because you have a beautiful country house. So you have a self-catering property for visitors to come through, and I'm sure that you do a lot of recommendations when people stay there.
Yeah, for sure. The Giant's Causeway and the Titanic Belfast, them big things that's been there a long time. They're great to see, but there's so much more happening. There's just so much more, really old Ireland type experiences that really get under the skin in a positive way, like where you can get really up and close and reconnect with nature and really feel what Ireland's like from another standpoint rather than the more commonly known attractions. Where we're at in the Sperrins, it's a very spiritual type of a place because there's a lot of parts of it is totally untouched. The way it looks today is the way it would have looked 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. It's mossland and heather and heights and valleys, and it's just been untouched, and it's beautiful.
It is an absolutely beautiful area. So when people are staying at Glenshane Country House, which is the country house that your family owns, they're actually staying in the heart of a farm.
Yes, that's correct. The self-catering home we have, it's 5-star. It's situated beside my farmhouse and near my parents' house. And they are, yep, tucked away in the centre of our farm. So it's very private. And it's, again, situated in a way where the site is, when you pull back the curtains in the morning, you're basically taking in a massive part of Northern Ireland. You can see so far across, like the Mourne Mountains and Lough Neagh and Slemish, as we've talked about there. So it's a really peaceful place, and again, a chance to see parts of Ireland that's has never been touched.
So when you created this idea for the country house, it's a little bit more than maybe a lot of people are thinking of when they think of renting a cottage in Ireland, because this, it looks like it's purpose built. I mean, this is not grandma and grandpa's cottage that you've decided to rent out. You've got a beautiful open plan kitchen and big gorgeous bedrooms. So what made you decide that this was maybe the way you wanted to interact with people coming to Ireland? What brought on the idea of the country house?
The country house. Well, I suppose we owned the house, and it was a family home, and we didn't really want to rent the house, to be honest. We kind of, because it is a family home and it's within the farm. Um, my wife has relatives in America, and we would have been out in America visiting them, and times they would have said, we'll come home, and they're sort of staying here and there in different places. And that probably was a starting point for where the idea might have sort of grew quicker from. And as soon as we decided that we would go down that route and use the house in that way, it just snowballed. We finished the house as best we could, as higher standards as we could, so that all the amenities are there that's needed. But at the same time, it's where it's situated and where it's at. It's very close to nature, and you step outside and you can see the farm, and it kind of started from there. Just that idea of wanting to welcome international guests to the farm. That's where it started, and we've loved it. We've loved it since. It's been fantastic. We've met some fantastic people from around the world, and it's been great. We love it.
And where you're located, as we mentioned, it's kind of that heart of Northern Ireland. So it's really easy to day trip from, to not only see those kind of the big popular sites in the north, the Giant's Causeway, the city of Derry and its beautiful walls, even over to Belfast. But there's so much more that people can do just, I mean, almost down the mountain and out the door. What do
Yeah,
you recommend people make sure that they're doing that's a little bit more local to you than those big sites?
yeah. Well, where we're situated within Northern Ireland, we're 55 minutes from the Giant's Causeway. If you wanted to see that, we're 40 minutes from Derry, the Derry Walls. 45 minutes. We're 50 minutes from the Titanic in Belfast. So that's the type of distance you're talking to get to see them sort of things. So it's not like you're making a decision, if you go to them, you can't go to the other things. We are so central. More on our doorstep. There is so much happening. It's and a lot of the businesses that are moving now and advertising now are all very new. Um, there's just so many. We've got the Seamus Heaney home place that's 15 minutes from here. Worldwide known poet.
Mhm.
At school, I would have knew of him. We would have learned within our English classes, about him. But now, as having left school as an adult, going to see what he does and what he did, it's just so touching. Even his poems about the old Ireland and his grandfather and digging turf and different things. It is a really special place to visit. There's a young girl down the road, Brona, runs a bakehouse. She does like a bakery class for international visitors. She'll show you how, and you actually do it with her. You bake scones and do things like the way her grandmother would have taught her when she was small, like cooking scones on the griddle. Lough Neagh stories, self-generation fisherman, husband and wife. They take you out in Lough Neagh and tell you stories about fishing through the years, and how it's changed and what they do. And there's so many things, so many things.
And you
Even
have beautiful country houses through there too that people don't think about. There are some beautiful, beautiful old sites like that.
there is even on in our own area, there's different types of accommodation depending on what you're after. We've got um, there's like small stone cottages, and then you've got like more like your glamping type pods that's up in the mountain. So there's something to cater for everyone. The hotel in Mahara's only a few miles away. It's a great base as well. There's just so many different layers to depend what the person wants to do.
Hmm.
That's what I like about the variety of experiences that is within Northern Ireland and Mid Ulster. Um, they've got different, they tap into different senses and emotions. Like you have the like of the fishermen that take, the like the Loch Ness stories that takes you out on the water. You've got the like of embrace tours. A local fella, Hugh McCloy, there would take you out and talks about the stone circles and sort of the more ancient type, the giants and fairies type stories, and like there's just so many different things going on. There's a new observatory up in Dava Forest, dark skies, fantastic place as well. It's packed with so many different things that isn't when you're here you can see so many. Just depend what you're interested in.
Well, and when I talk to people about visiting Northern Ireland, so many people want to kind of tag it on to their full Ireland itinerary and give it
Yes,
a day or two. And because the Belfast and the Giants Causeway are so forefront in people's minds, they don't realize that, I mean, a minimum of a week, it should be its own vacation, really.
there's you could easily spend. I live here, and I could easily spend a week venturing around the different things around here. There's so many attractions that are advertised, but there's also so many hidden gems. There's so many small wee knick-knacky areas and parts to see that no one even knows about, other than locals. And it's great that a lot of the locals are trying to get that out there and let it be more seen that what the possibilities could be. Um, but there's loads of stuff. There's absolutely so much stuff, even from your food and drink side of things. There's the Ponderosa that's 2 minutes from me here. It's the highest pub and restaurant in Ireland. We have like the Cross Keys Inn is I think it goes back to something like 1654. My memory serves me right. Ireland's oldest thatched pub. It's only 30 minutes from here. We've got Frills' bar and restaurant. They have the famine pot that was used in the soup kitchen. They actually have the hole in the wall, the stone room that the soup would have been handed out through the wall, and that's Frills and Swat. There's so many different things. So what I'm kind of saying is, even from an eating point of view, there's history and there's stories and there's different tours and different things that you can really feel like, wow, we're just not having a meal in a restaurant. We're having a meal in a restaurant where it was a soup kitchen during the famine time. There's just so many different um, things that you can tap into to really fill your time with genuine, authentic Irish history. As
Kind
soon
of
as you
kind
wake
of
up in the
stepping
morning, Jody,
into
it's there.
kind of stepping into that old Ireland and
Yeah.
getting away from the things that are built up and made to attract you or to draw you or to entertain you, and just letting Ireland be Ireland.
That's exactly right. It's just genuine Irish people inviting you into their surroundings and asking you to join in for a bit of crack for an hour or two, and then wish you all the best when you're going. It is. There's so many parts of it. It's just so uncommercialized. It's just so welcoming. I think the welcome is the massive part of it, and that's what we love here. We really love that welcome, that warm welcome. Come
Mhm.
on and get a cup of tea, that type of thing, and that's important to us here.
Well, and speaking of the history of Ireland and the history of place and that warm welcome, you actually have started something new in the last year, because I know you weren't doing this when I was there last June, but you are a shepherd, and
Yep.
so your farm, there's a lot of sheep, and obviously, as Americans, we're kind of mad for sheep. And you have created an experience that people can come in and really, you're not only seeing sheepdogs at work, but there's more to it. Do you want to tell me a little bit about what you've got going on now?
Yeah. Basically, what happened was when we started the self-catering home, I'll never forget it. The second guest we had stay with us was American family from Pennsylvania, and they arrived on the farm and they were just blown away by the views. And we were like, "That's fantastic! That's a great response." They started talking about the farming and who I was and how long I was here. So I was telling them I'm a fourth generation shepherd to sort of work these lands here and be here. And this is fantastic, and we love the sheep. And I just happened to say to them, "Would you like to see the sheep up a little closer?" And they looked at me like, "We'd love to, but how?" And I said, "I'll get the dog to gather them up." So I whistled the dog and come up, and I sort of joked with the dog, "Right, Moss, need you to jump in here and gather these sheep for our lovely guests." And he jumped the wire and took the sheep up to the wire. And I think when I saw the expression on their face and just the fun and the emotion and the crack and just that, what I saw them experience, that was the start of it for me. That's what made me um, a year later think, right, I really want to do this. I want to open up my doors to international visitors and share what we do here in the farm. So that's how it was born. It was kind of a combination of a passion for farming and a new passion for tourism, and it just went from there. It went from there. So basically, what happens now is we do two experiences on the farm, a 45-minute experience where visitors get to see the sheepdogs at work and have a bit of crack with myself and talk about farming and sort of enjoy the views and kind of get a feel for what we do on a daily basis. And then the second part of the experience is the shearing, where we shear off the wool with the traditional hand shears, the way my grandfather would have taught me, and with the electric shears. And they get to see baby lambs and different breeds of sheep, and it's good. I really enjoy it. Really enjoy having people here seeing it.
Well, and your experience is very hands-on because if you want to try shearing and you're doing the shearing experience, you're
Yes.
actually going to let people get in there and give it a shot, which is
Yeah.
kind of intimidating.
Yeah. I think that's part of what I'm trying to do here. It's giving people that opportunity to challenge themselves and step forward and try something different. I would have contract sheared around Mid Ulster area for over 20 years. We've sheared thousands and thousands more sheep than I would like to remember. Um, but as a shearer, I'm very comfortable and very confident in the shearing process. So what I would do is I'll shear the ewe till a certain point where I kind of control the sheep and give them a chance to give them that wee taster of how it works, and they really love getting that hands on and having a wee go type process. I would never hand them a sheep and say, "There you go, work it out." It's not like that. It's all in a very safe, controlled environment. But it's just to give them that one chance when they're in Ireland to try something that they may not have the opportunity to try anywhere else at that particular time.
And another thing that you do differently, I think, than any place else in Ireland that I've ever seen is that you actually have baby lambs all year round, pretty much. You don't just lamb in the springtime.
No, again, with this experience, we tried our absolute best to give people an all year farming sheep experience in that time they're with us. So the I really didn't want someone arriving to us in November and saying, "Oh, pity we missed the lambing, pity we missed the shearing." So we've incorporated um, that experience at any time of year. So we're lambing all year round. The other shepherds are scratching their head, looking at me thinking, "Do you really want to do that?" But it's all part of that giving process. That when someone arrives on the farm, when you see how much they appreciate seeing a baby lamb totally out of season, that's enough for me. It's great. It's brilliant.
There's nothing cuter than a baby lamb. I mean, really, again, like I said, we're mad for those lambs. Because they're everywhere and they just, they dot the hillside.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's nothing better than cuddling a baby lamb and getting that, that photo op from that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's your Irish photo op right there, right?
That's right. And the puppy too. There's something about a puppy.
Oh,
A
yes.
little puppy just sort of scooting about, so innocent, and even you can see the cleverness of that early border collie skills coming in. Working around the sheep. There's something very special about them types of things that we really appreciate. And again, it's great to share. It is great to share.
I I can barely train my dog to, sit, and she doesn't walk very well at all on a leash. She's always trying to pull my arm out. So to see how a shepherd and its dog work together just so seamlessly, I'm just always amazed. That's, I think, one thing that will amaze me forever is just that how well the dog understands their job and takes commands. It just blows me away.
Yeah, it's sometimes I actually pinch myself as well. Some of the things they do, but it's amazing. But it's kind of back to that same thing. It's there's a trust and there's a bond that starts off that as that little dog, as a pup, and you're petting it and you're feeding it and it's walking with you and it's working with you and it's out with you. It just grows from there. It really does. And it gets to know when you speak a certain way in a certain tone, and it's a bit like children, I say in our house, when you speak a certain way in a certain tone and you use your whistles in certain ways, they get to know you. It's all about breaking down the language barrier and trust. They want to do it. Like people wonder, like, do they really like running to do it? You let them out of the back of the jeep and watch them. Do you see? Like they jump through the gate and they're standing looking at me with their tongue out and their head wagging. Like, hey, tell me what you want me to do. Quick, tell me. I want to do it. I want to do it now. So they just love it. That's their way of um, getting something for them. It's hard to believe, but when they run and gather the sheep, that's them doing what they want to do, and it's great. It's great that they're doing it because they want to do it.
It's something. It's just an amazing thing to see. So if people are interested in either staying at Glenshane Country House or taking part in the Glenshane Country Farm experiences, what is the best way for them to learn more about it and get in touch with you?
The best way is probably through our website. It's www.glenshanecountryfarm.com, and our accommodation is there, and the farm experience is there. The farm experience is mainly operated through a business-to-business process, but for any American that's making contact that wants to come across to see us, they will be super welcomed. Because again, it's the foundation to why we took that leap of faith and opened our doors to the world. Basically, was them experiences I had at the start, and every family we've had come since. I've just loved it. So through the website is the best way. And
Excellent.
I
They
and the
can just
phone's
drop
always
you an email and
yeah, of course, and like that too. We're easy to talk to. I'm kind of the person that works with the sheepdogs and works with the sheep and cleans the dishes and does the brushes of the yard. It's all me. So if someone wants to lift the phone and give me a call about coming across or seeing us, they're very welcome.
excellent. Now, are there any places, maybe on social media that you're active, that people can get a little bit of a glimpse of what's going on, maybe day to day, week to week?
Yes, we are on Facebook with Glenshane Country Farm and Glenshane Country House, and we're on Instagram and Twitter with Glenshane Country Farm. So
That's very
any
active.
any
That's a lot of time.
any crazy photos of the dogs doing something funny or the sheep doing something funny, I usually captured within that moment as we're working, and I'll maybe post it later on that night. So that's again, we've got really good feedback. Even although we're a new business and we're only sharing these things a short time, the feedback has been fantastic. And again, we're really proud to be one of the 23 experiences chosen as brand ambassadors for the Embrace the Giant Spirit, which is Northern Ireland's new stamp on the country to say we're here too. So you've got the Ancient East and you've got the Wild Atlantic Way, and now we have the Embrace the Giant Spirit, and it's fantastic to be one of the brands to be part of that Embrace the Giant Spirit. We're really so proud, and it's great. It's just fantastic. They've been so Tours in Northern Ireland have been so supportive.
That's incredible to be chosen for that as such a new business. That really has to kind of give you the stamp of approval that you're doing something that is right and is just it's helps the whole image of Northern Ireland maybe expand a bit.
It does, without a shadow of a doubt. I think this brand, they have been working on it for a number of years, and they launched it at the World Travel Market in London in November 2019. I was very lucky to be, I think possibly out of all the hundreds of thousands of people, about the only shepherd standing with a shepherd's crook in London at the unveiling of it. But fantastically proud to be part of it, to be chosen. There's so many fantastic brands that were chosen alongside us, and again, it's just given Northern Ireland. The brand even expresses how much Northern Ireland welcome people from around the world. Like that even in itself, it's saying, come to us, see what we have. We'll wow you before you go home, and seeing what is on our doorstep. It is fantastic. It is fantastic, and you're only an hour, a couple of hours down the road to other parts of Ireland too. It's not like when you come here you can't go anywhere else. Like 3 or 4 hours will take you any direction through Ireland. Like we're only 2.5 hours from Dublin,
Right.
my house. So like it's we're all very close.
Just don't cut Northern Ireland short. It's all I have to say. Give it more time than you think you should. So, Jamesy, we've talked a lot about your area, and we've talked a lot about what makes it so special. But if people were coming to visit Northern Ireland, or even to stay with you, and they ask for your input on their itinerary, what 3 places would you say they must make sure they need to add to it?
You'll need a car to reach some of these recommended destinations, so I'm excited to partner with irishcarrentals.com to provide an unbeatable quote on your car rental in Ireland. Be sure to use code IFV for Ireland Family Vacations in the promotions box to save an extra 10%. Now, here come those recommended destinations.
Oh my
I know,
God.
it's such a hard question.
3. You've narrowed it down to 3. Okay. There's just so many. There's just so many. Again, it depends, I suppose, what people are into. Three of the things that I like. There's a girl that runs a bakehouse, as I mentioned already, Rona Duffin, the bakehouse. I just think what she's doing is really special. And there's another woman that Tracy Jeffers runs, like a baking type idea too. It's just fantastic that get into a kitchen and making the scones and just that just takes you right back to, it takes me back to whenever I seen my granny making scones in the house. And I think that's why it just brings you back to the old Ireland. But with Brona in the bakehouse, she does that. So that's great. Embrace Tours, Q McCloy talks about the giants and the stone circles and that sort of mythological type sort of trail of thought of fairies and giants and things, and it's really interesting as well, because again you're standing up at the stones and it just takes you back in time. You're like, wow, I guess I lived here, and some of the things I've hardly even heard of, so it's so untouched. Dalriada Kingdom Tours run a fantastic Beyond the Bridge experience where it takes you down to Carrick-a-Reek Road Bridge, and you get to the other side of the rope bridge down into the wee cottage where the actual fishermen would have come up from fishing. And again, when you're sitting in that wee room, you just feel like, wow, this is so untouched, so untouched. So that would be three things that I like. But I could name so many, like Seamus Heaney and Black Day. I could go on and on. There is so many. And the same as that, if anyone's coming to stay with us, we would give them the options. And we find certain people like certain things, and they start to kind of dissect what they like and where they'd like to go. But usually before the week's out, they've been around the mall. They just keep going deeper and deeper and seeing more and more. So it's great. It's great to have that versatility and different opportunities.
There really is so much on offer right there in the heart of Northern Ireland and obviously out from there. So, as always, I am going to have links to everything that Jamesy and I talked about, as well as links to the Glenshane Country Farm website, so you can very easily take a look and see the country house as well as the shepherd experience with the sheep, because that looks just phenomenal. So, Jamesy, I want to thank you for taking the time with me today. I know that we are closing in on evening in Ireland, and it's just been great to hear about everything you have going on there.
Oh no, thank you very much for giving me the chance to speak to your lovely listeners. Again, it's for us here and our community. It's the warm welcome. The first thing anyone gets when they come here is a cup of tea. So no, we look forward to seeing anyone. And again, anyone that wants to make contact or has any queries, please call. You're more than welcome.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Traveling in Ireland podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a 5-star review at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or Android. If you can't leave a review on your podcast app, leave a review on the Ireland Family Vacations Facebook page, or take a screenshot and tag me at Ireland Family Vacations on Instagram with a few kind words. Any questions or comments? Email me, Jody, at IrelandFamilyVacations.com. And until next time, slán go fóill.